The value proposition for sneakers is just not there at all for me. What's going on YouTube? Taylor Prentice back here with another video, and in this video we're going to be talking about why I haven't bought shoes in like 4 or 5 years, which seems like forever. But anyways, if you guys are new to the channel, if you could hit that like and subscribe for me, it would help me out a lot. I drop streetwear videos 2 to 3 times a week, and if we do hit 1,000 subscribers before March 26th, I will be giving away either a Supreme or a Palace item, so stay tuned for that, tell a friend. But anyways, getting into this video, so we're looking at this article by Hypebeast. The title is Global Sneaker Sales Decline, Signaling Market Downturn, which I think is honestly probably a good thing for sneakers. I feel like sneakers have gotten really out of hand over the last couple years, and personally that's been a big reason on why I haven't bought them, is just because it's been, one, just super hard to be able to get the sneakers that you actually want on drop days. Like, it gets really old when you get on the sneakers app and you lose every single time, and it kind of deters buyers from even trying. I know a lot of people that I'm friends with that aren't like die-hard sneakerheads that were just kind of into sneakers have just stopped trying because you just lose and lose and lose, and you get your hopes up every week, and then after a while you just kind of lose interest in it, and then once you like stop even checking it, like you just forget to do it ever. So I don't even really like think about sneaker drops. I obviously see them on Instagram that this shoe's gonna be dropping this day, but like when the actual day comes, me personally just forget about it a lot of the time. So that's been a big reason on why I haven't bought shoes too. And then we have the resale prices, which I'll get into a little bit later in this video. But as you guys can see here, the sneaker market is expected to face challenging macroeconomic conditions in 2023 with falling consumer demand. And I do think a lot of people are in a similar situation to me, especially when we're going into tougher economic times, that one, it's hard to get the shoes that you want. Two, you can't get every shoe that you want because shoes are getting gradually more expensive, which I do think makes sense. I do think the brands selling these shoes need to make their money too. So like Jordan 1's going up $10 to $170. I didn't think it was a huge issue, but when you go to buy those Jordans on the aftermarket and they are like $500, $600, $700, it is an issue. So here we're looking at a price chart of Jordans in just 2020. Even prior to 2020, we had seen a lot of growth in the sneaker market, especially Jordans, just because they've gotten so hyped, along with many other Nikes and Adidas like Yeezys and all that. But this is just looking at 2020, and this has a very interesting part for 2020. So as you guys can see here, The Last Dance premiered, and if you don't know what that is, it was like a documentary on Michael Jordan's career and just that Bulls team. So that itself increased the price of Jordans, which I thought was really interesting, but totally makes sense. So part of my reasoning for hoping that prices will eventually go down is because, one, the hype from this is dying. We're going into tougher economic times, and I just think people are starting to lose interest in them. I don't think people will ever fully lose interest in shoes. Like, if I see a pair that I really like for like a good value, I'll buy them all day. But the value proposition for sneakers is just not there at all for me. And that's kind of explained in this next chart. So this is looking at SB Dunks over the last 5 or so years, in 6 years, I guess. But as you guys can see here, the prices of SBs have just gotten astronomical, and Nike has finally started to realize this and started to release way more pairs than they were originally. Like the Panda Dunks dropped like 5 times in 2022, it feels like. So the whole like thrill and exclusivity of having those was completely ruined, and I don't think any of the buyers originally thought that. I think when the Panda Dunks first came out, they were reselling for pretty high because no one thought that they were just going to get redropped a bunch of times. And I do wish that rather than making a bunch of drops throughout the year, that these brands like Nike and Adidas would just build up the sneaker production, have it, and then just have it all in one drop, so the public has a better idea of the actual value of those shoes and knows that there's not going to be a pair dropping in like 3 months again. Which, it doesn't bother me when they like really space out the drops, but like when you see a shoe that's dropped like even like 2 or 3 years before, it's just like, really, do we need that already? And yes, them dropping drops the resale price, which is a good thing, but at the end of the day, it kind of screws the people who really want the shoes and who paid resale for them at the very beginning, trying to get the best prices, because obviously as a shoe gets older, it's harder to find it dead stock, so the prices will go up. And a lot of big sneakerheads don't want to buy used shoes, so it just makes sense. A good example of that is these Jordan Pure Money 4s that I have. Mine are like super thrashed, so yeah, I don't know. I've just worn them I wore them like every day for like 2 or 3 years. I loved those shoes, great shoes. Like, would I buy them for retail? Again, yes, like not even a question. I paid $200 for retail. Great deal. Would 100% do it again without a doubt. But now, if I wanted to buy them new, they're $745, which is just outrageous. Like, I understand they dropped in 2017, which was a pretty long time ago. But at the end of the day, do I think these shoes are worth $745 in any situation? The answer is no. Just the value is not there. And obviously, like you guys have seen, these are in like pretty rough conditions. If I'm like paying like $800 for a pair of shoes almost, I want them to be like indestructible, pretty much is what I'm getting at. So yeah, the prices have just gotten inflated so much that it's priced out like the casual sneaker buyer. So I think eventually we'll have to see some sort of reaction from the prices, and they'll have to start dropping, because who is like keeping these prices up? Like, who is buying these shoes at these prices? Because people must just be made of money. I don't know anyone around me really who's able to just buy every single shoe that they want like that. It's like, are all these shoes just going to like PJ Tucker or somebody? I don't really get it. But I think eventually, given all the circumstances that are culminating, prices will have to drop. Just tougher economical times. Prices have gone up so much, and they're just outrageous right now. And like I said, I think people have started to lose interest. Like, I would consider myself someone who's pretty into sneakers, and pretty, obviously, like, I'm super into fashion. And I know a lot of people who don't really care, who are like buying shoes here and there. And it's like, I feel like they've probably all stopped if I've stopped. And I can't imagine people who are less into fashion and like shoes than me are willing to spend more money than me on shoes, unless they've just got bags like that. So I don't know. I think the big thing here that I'm trying to get at is I do think prices will eventually go down. And right now, I think it's just better to sit on the sidelines, unless it's a sneaker that you really, really want, you don't think it'll drop again, and you think the price is fair. Really, if you think the value is there, I understand buying a pair of shoes, but the value for a lot of these shoes, I just don't see it. And the Off-White 4s are some of my favorite sneakers ever. I was planning on paying resale for these because I figured I wasn't going to get them on drop day. I figured that would be pretty impossible to do. But I was like, dude, I'll pay like $800, $1,000. I like had money set aside for them. And the day they dropped, they were selling for like $1,500 already. And now they're selling for like $2,000. So I just can't bring myself to fork out that kind of money for a pair of sneakers. It's just doesn't make sense. Even though they're like super cool, one of my favorite pairs of Jordans ever released. It's just like, why would I spend that much money on a pair of shoes? You could get so much cooler, like you could get a lot of cool clothing for $2,000. I saw this tweet the other day, so I thought I would mention it as well, since I was talking about the Sale 4s. But the Sale 4s and the Off-White 5s have a possible restock coming, so if that happens, I will be going for these 4s. But if I don't hit on them, I'm probably not going to pay resale, because they'll probably be going for like thousands of dollars again. But this was a respected reseller that I follow. He said there's a warehouse full of them, so this is highly likely. So if you guys are looking for either these Off-White 4s or 5s, keep your eyes open for a pair dropping soon. Might be a realistic possibility that I hadn't really thought about before. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to give a rundown on why I haven't bought any shoes and why I haven't really made any sneaker content. I've just been kind of turned off from the whole industry itself, and I think a lot of people are finally getting to the point that I've been at for like honestly a couple years, because it's just so hard to get what you want. If you are able to get what you want, you're paying crazy resale for it if you're not getting it on drop day, which has been increasingly harder, it seems like, because it seems like more people are into shoes than ever. But yeah, like I said, I do think some of the people that were into it are starting to fall out of love with it. So yeah, I don't know. I hope the sneaker market kind of works itself out like any other market. I do think, like I said, prices will just have to drop someday, because the prices we're at right now are just not sustainable. So yeah, while there's been a crazy inflation over sneakers over the last really 10 years almost, I do think in the next 10 years or even 5 years, probably closer than that even, we'll start to see a decline in sneaker prices. Or even if it's not a decline, just like a standoff. I don't think resale prices and sneaker prices can just keep growing as much as they have, because like I said, it's just outrageous. And at the end of the day, the people selling the shoes have to have customers, and if people start taking losses on a bunch of shoes, or if prices go down, then there will be less reselling, I think, and be more room for people to get shoes that they want closer to a realistic price, or like a retail price. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think about it down below. This is a very weird issue. There's a lot going on, so it's hard to really nail down what needs to happen in order for the shoe market to get to where it needs to be. But over time, I think it will just work itself out. Kind of like the stock market. Like right now, the stock market is kind of a mess, but everything is falling. And if you look at it, everything had gone up a ton before. So it kind of makes sense that we have corrections in markets. And it's kind of weird comparing the shoe market to the stock market, but that's kind of what it's become. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what really happens in 2023, and it'll be interesting to see if I actually buy any shoes this year. But so far, if prices stay at what they're at and I don't get any shoes for retail, I don't know, might not buy any. But anyways, if you guys have made it to this point, thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time. Have a good one.